Hello, today for review I've got a pretty fun gadget. It's a digital audio player made in China, almost no-name company named Acmee, and model name is MF01. Kind of spoiler, you know, it's a really fun and unusual device, but at the same time it has several flaws, so I can't call it, perfect, but I will cover this more in the conclusion, so just skip there if you want to get it briefly. But anyway, it has the potential to be good device. So it's small, it's pretty powerful, it uses AK4490 as digital tonal converter, and it uses Muse02 as preamplifier. And at the same time it's pretty powerful. There is no exact specifications on this website. So basically what I could indirectly evaluate, work time is about 7 hours, a bit less, a bit more depending on load, and also it drives 300 ohms in hyzers, pretty normal. So at the same time, probably I will speak about specifications right now. So it's one of its two issues is high output impedance. It's about 40 ohms. If you're using dynamic driver headphones, it won't be an issue for you, but for some multi-balanced armature or hybrid models with crossover, it could cause sound distortion. So it's not universal, but it's fun. Price is $110, and let's have a closer look. Box is small, but I can say pretty stylish, so it looks okay. Inside we will have player itself, USB cable and quick start manual. So as you can see, accessory set is pretty basic, but you will have all you need to use it. And here is player itself. So no case, no protective screens, but I don't think that it needs any of those. What I like about this DAB and why I actually started reviewing it, it's design. You know, it has its own unusual style. It's tiny, but at the same time it's brutal, and it's doing few things really nicely. As you can see, it's even smaller than M6, but of course it's almost 2 times thicker, because it has a full-featured digital tonal converter and amplifier inside, so it requires a big battery, and there is no way to make it small because it's the limitation of current batteries. On the upper side there is a headphones output and line out. It's universal knob it uses for volume and for some other things, and also it can be pressed. 5 buttons on the front panel to use as a control, and on the bottom there is a micro SD card slot, so it requires micro SD to be inserted because it doesn't have its own memory, and USB for charging, and also you can use it as digital tonal converter, but this usage is limited because it's not charging when it's used as digital tonal converter, so it will drain battery, and then you'll have to disconnect it and to charge. To turn it on, just so before turning on, actually everything is built really nicely, really solidly, no rattling sound, so all buttons have present click. Encoder here has also well-defined clicks, so everything is built, in pretty nice way. Screen isn't the brightest, but it still stays pretty visible, so let me find some angle. I will dim lights a little bit so it will be visible. Screen is small, it's black and white, so it's not something stellar, of course, but still it's enough to see the basic information. And they've spent some time thinking about the controls. So pressing M button will bring you to the menu. Music list, it's all music in one, or you can browse it by folders, but the biggest limitation of this DAW is that it supports only one level of folders. So you can have folders on your micro SD card, and then you need to put files right there. I usually use two-level folder hierarchy, artist, album, but it's not working, so just one level. I had to rename the folders and tracks on my micro SD slot, and actually, you know, it's the biggest limitation. It's awful limitation, but I will probably elaborate on it a bit later. Marker list, it's a playlist, you can add tracks there. Cycle, it's play order, so all, single track or random. Settings, so I forgot to say that navigation is done via this knob, and pressing it changes the value. So display time, sleep time, brightness, it's the maximum. Style, actually it's a digital to-analog converter filter. Car mode, you can use it in car. When you will turn the power on, it will be turned on automatically with your car. Boot lock, USB digital to analog converter, actually misspelled, it's not ADC, it's DAC. You can turn it on here. 6-speed, autoplay, memory playback, language, basically two of them. Update firmware and update font and information. So as you can see, just basic settings. Scan music, it's for that all tracks list, and delete file. So let's go back to now playing screen. So basically play order, number of tracks, volume, battery status, number of artist and track, position and resolution, so all you will need. And what I like here, they did nice thing. If you press this button and hold MAM button, it's knob seek mode, and you can rotate this knob and actually rewind tracks in a really fast way. So you know, usually it's surprising that they thought about some unusual features like this knob seek mode that other companies doesn't care, because you can navigate it, you can rewind with these buttons also, but usually they don't care about this usability, and this is really useful feature that I'd like, but at the same time they didn't manage to support at least two levels of folder hierarchy. Also, as usual for some Chinese DAWs, it doesn't support letters with diacritics, so all that accents on the letters is a no-go for it. And surprisingly, it works with Cyrillic letters. I don't know why, but it's working. So there are few limitations, not the biggest battery lifetime, really few flaws in the firmware. Actually, they released few firmware updates fixing some issues and bugs, but still didn't add to folder hierarchy. If they add it in some near future, you know, I will forget many things for this job. But what is good about it, it's the sound. You know, if only the sound of this player was bad, in this case I just skipped it and sent it back, because there are a lot of DAWs with strange controls, with not good firmware and so on the AliExpress. But this player is really nice. You know, in terms of sound, it has its own unique character, and I like it. It's enjoyable. It requires finding proper headphones or in-ear monitors, because as I've said before, its output impedance is high and it won't play normally with many hybrid and multi-driver models. Luckily, I've got really good dynamic driver in-ear monitors that's suiting this DAW really nicely. It's periodic audio beryllium. I made a cabling for them. Not myself, my friends from Era In-Ear did, but anyway. And it plays so good with this DAW, so I decided to keep it just one pairing that is really enjoyable. It's pretty expectable that sound here could be nice, because you know, AK4490 and Muses 02, I'm not sure is it original or fake one. I googled criteria of real Muses and it looks like real one, but you know, the price of Muses is about $25, and this player itself costs $110. I don't know. Anyway, it's sounding really engaging, and it has its unique signature that probably maybe not many, but some people will definitely fall in love with. It's raw, it's emotional, and it's powerful. Not powerful in terms of milliwatts of driving power, but powerful in terms of sound representation. You know, in our era of naturally sounding players, when everyone is trying to make something super resolving, something supernatural, this player is like I can't find proper metaphor here, you know, it's like some tasty fast food after half a year of diet. Anyway, it's really engaging, so let's probably proceed step by step. I'll try to do it briefer this time, because many people say that I'm saying too much and not everyone understands that. So bass is impactful. It's not accented in terms of frequency response. Frequency response here flat as usual, but it has weight, it has additional punch, it has some kick, it goes pretty deep, it has nice rumble, it has nice texturing. Of course, it's sounding a bit raw, and it's lacking a bit of resolution comparing with more expensive devices, but it's really engaging, and with many genre and styles, it's sounding really nice. So I didn't prepare examples here, but you've seen many times that my typical examples, like, I don't know, The Antwoord, for example, really engaging, or I don't know, Musica Nuda, actually double bass of Ferruccio Spinetti sounding a bit not 100% audiophilic and realistic, but it's sounding engaging, so bass is nice. Mids are also done in an emotional way. It highlights emotions. It reminds actually Zishan DSD in this aspect, but it do it a bit more in a bit more natural way, because Zishan is a bit less natural in this aspect. So mids are normal in terms of resolution, not superb, but normal. It's not focused on the micro detalization, but it shines when it comes to the macro dynamics. So different explosions, emotions, emotional vocal, it's sounding really good, and it put enough of weight to vocal, to the instruments, so instruments have their body and so on. Imaginary stage is noticeably above average both in width and in depth, and you know, it's surprising for such a small device. It doesn't require some audiophilic records to perform well. It's pretty forgiving because it's colored up, let's say it forward, but this coloration is really nice. The best genres and styles for it is some emotional vocals, rock one, jazz one, I don't know. You know, it's the case when it's not 100% natural, but I'm totally okay with it, you know. I really like how it plays Nina Simone. I really enjoy Louis Armstrong with it. My favorite Dire Straits is I spent like 2 days listening to the Dire Straits, the best of, on the repeat. It's so only pause that I made is to charge it. And treble is rolled off, and it's a bit simplified, but at the same time it's also suiting this raw representation, because you know, it's not the dub that tries to be some audiophilic, that tries to overwhelm you with really rich saturated overtones, that really tries to highlight these trails of the instruments. No, it's not that case, it's just raw power, and treble here is basically enough to play all that everything that hits this part of sonic spectrum, all that cymbals, I don't know, all high-pitched notes like violins or some high-pitched female vocals will be sounding nicely. Of course, they will be lacking rich overtones, but who cares about them in this case? It's not the dub created, I don't know, for chamber classical music or something like that. It's the case when you just enjoy it and when emotions overwhelm you. But actually, you know, it's sounding still acceptable. For example, Vivaldi Four Seasons sounding pretty nice. Not audiophilic, but superb. Or let's take another classical example. It's Ravel's Bolero. Also really engaging. Of course, violins will lose a bit of realism, and trumpets also not 100% realistic, but at the same time emotions at the core of this masterpiece. It's just doing the right things and plays them really engaging. It has a pretty black background, but actually it's not suited for sensitive multi-balanced armature in-ear monitors because it has high output impedance and low impedance in-ear monitors. They just will be screwed by its high output impedance. But with dynamic drivers it's okay, and it will drive sensitive and middle sensitive headphones nicely too. Maybe not superb with tough to drive headphones, but also pretty okay. As a joke, I tried to plug my Mesa Empyrean, and you know, result was normal. Not superb, but normal and really engaging. So of course it's just like unequal marriage in this case, but still pretty enjoyable. I won't do comparison this time because not much sense in it, you know, it's a different variation of dubs, just a step aside. So the only dub that I can compare, it's Zishan DSD. Maybe with some modifications Zishan could be better, but in terms of sound I like it more because it's doing the same thing but a bit better, preserving more natural sound and being enough emotional. Maybe some op-amp rolling will improve it too, but I didn't try that. Anyway, I like it in the stock option. So to summarize everything, I can't probably recommend buying this dub without trying it. But as a second dub, for example, with perfect pairing, you know, it's really engaging. If they will fix these firmware issues, it would be a noticeable step forward for those who are okay to sacrifice some nice usability and some additional features to achieve the better sound. And of course you must be aware that when you get in it, you will get not the typical natural resolving audiophilic sound, but more emotional, more raw, more powerful. You know, think of it like not some classical musician, but some rock musician without train coming by. It's like, you know, some rock musicians that spent 40 years on stage, not super professional, but he got a huge experience and he's still passionate about his music, and he is at this dub. So it was Acmee MF01, nice dub for those who like emotional representation, and I will keep it for myself to use sometimes as just an emotional version of the dub. You know, when I'll be tired of super right and super natural Aston-Kern SP2000, I will switch back to this one time to time. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.